Good morning, investors. Now I will discuss US Consumer Price Index for June 2022. US CPI increased by 1.3% in June 22 versus 1% in May 22 and versus 0.9% in June 21 on 1 month percent change basis. On 3 monthly basis, US CPI increased by 2.6% in June 22 versus 2.6% in May 22 and versus 2.2% in June 21. On the 12th month basis, US CPI continued to increase sharply by 9.1% in June 22 versus 8.5% in May 22 and 5.3% in June 21, indicating that US inflation continues to remain strong from last 2 to 3 years. This also shows higher revenues and profits for US consumer durable and non-durable companies. Looking into details, category wise, US CPI for all items increased by 1.3% in June 2022 versus 1% in May 22 versus 9.1% on year basis. Food prices and core CPI increased modestly by 1% and 0.7% in June 22 versus 1.2% and 0.6% in May 22, but on year basis it increased by 10.4% and 5.9% respectively, indicating continued inflationary pressure resulting in higher cost of living on year basis. Energy prices saw 7.5% increment in June 22 versus 3.5% in May 22 and versus 41.6% in on YY basis, shows that energy prices remained strong throughout the year and thereby input prices for US businesses increased dramatically. This also indicates that non-durable goods inflation continued to spread across US. Overall, summing up, US CPI increased mainly due to higher motor fuel and gasoline prices in June 22. Inflation continues to remain strong, indicating Fed rate hikes, and Russia-Ukraine war continues to put more inflationary pressure throughout supply chain disruption.